Right. So again, this touches on your question about what makes a good digital advertiser.
Okay, and
right?
so just why don't you get into that then?
I'll get into that. Between Google and Facebook, you are capable of reaching basically 100% of everyone on the planet who has internet access. Because Facebook is not just Facebook, it's Instagram, and it's a whole network of apps and sites and things like that. Google is not just the search engine, it is YouTube, it's Gmail, it's Google Discovery, and it's also a couple of million websites and apps and things like that. When you run ads on one of those channels, obviously you get, you expose your brand and your message to those folks. But when you also then run it on the other channel, for example, people may see an ad on Facebook, not take action, but then later do a search and recognize your brand, right? Or vice versa.
Right.
They're doing a search or they're seeing a video on YouTube, then they go over to Facebook and they say, oh, I recognize these guys. I'm going to check them out. Right?
We hear about that, I guess, the number is 7 touch points or whatever it is that you hear in the industry.
Whatever it is. I don't know what that is. If it's 7, if it's 20, if it's 2. What matters to me are conversions for clients.
Someone clicks the ad, and what's supporting that lead from the ad?
People who I work with will often hear me say that getting someone to click on an ad is easy. It's getting them to do the thing you want them to do that is hard, right? So a good digital advertiser is not just someone that puts ads out there, puts messaging out there, but is someone who understands the full life cycle of what that ad is supposed to do.
Okay.
An ad is going to bring a whole bunch of people, hopefully the right people, to your door expecting a party. But when they come in the door, i.e. your website, your landing page, whatever the case is there, if you are not prepared for that party, or if people are expecting a rave and you've got smooth jazz playing, it's not going to work, right? So
you're dressed smooth jazz, I'm rave.
Totally. Yeah, you're definitely.
I got it.
Yeah. A little bit rock and roll, a little bit country. I don't know. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make here is that a good ad, yes, it gets in front of the right people with a good message, but an ad makes a promise that a landing page has to deliver on.
Okay.
Right. So, the landing page, the website, it has to do the majority of the heavy lifting there. So a good advertiser understands that they are just bringing people to the website, but they need to know what the website has to do, what it has to accomplish, right? And typically that's going to be, it could be an online sale, obviously, if you've got an e-commerce shop, or it could be lead generation, right? Filling out a form, picking up the phone, emailing. It could be downloading some kind of a white paper in order to build up an email list, right? Because email marketing is really effective still to this day. So a good advertiser knows that and is not just going to send a flood of people to a website that is not going to work. Right?
So with what we're doing for builders, again, we do landing pages for them or websites. So someone lands there, the user experience and all of that stuff matters. Would you say then less is more, get to the point on the website for this action piece from the lead? What do we want them to fill out? A form, call a salesperson?
Yep. Schedule a visit to a show home.
Schedule a visit.
Even just on their mobile phone, click on directions to the show home, things like that. Those are all potentially trackable metrics.
And you don't just do the ads, you then are also tracking that type of action item. Because whenever we're doing reports, and we'll talk about that quickly on kind of the value add, when you're doing a report, you're not only talking about the ad, but you're actually talking about the activity on the website, linking back to the ad, right down to the creative or the video or the photo, which one's doing the best, all of that. So it goes deeper than just pumping out ads, right?
Well, once you get an ad campaign into market, you need to switch into data mode, right? And all the decisions that we make are data driven. You start an ad campaign with a lot of assumptions. You think this video is going to work, this image is going to work, we think this target of people is the right target. But until you actually run it and until you get data, you don't know. It's just assumptions. But once the ad campaign is in market, particularly after it's been in market for a couple of months and started to mature, you're making all of your decisions based on that data. So we say, okay, look, we had these 6 images in market and everybody agreed that we hated this one image, but it's our top performer. So guess what? It stays, right? Whether we like it or not, it's winning the day for us. So then we get rid of some of the other ones that are underperforming and we introduce some new ones, right? So that's that sort of constant cycle. of optimization.
Yeah, absolutely. Any business, whether it's builders, developers, or they want quick results.
Yeah.
Like, let's start ads, and they're thinking in 5 hours those leads are going to be. Can you talk
sometimes.
about sometimes
and
it depends, yeah, for sure, and it also depends on. Tell me what criteria. Spend is one thing
for sure.
How much are you spending on the ads? Because it's one thing you're going to pay for all of the optimization and the stuff that you're doing, but then you also still have to spend to get that airtime. And compete with your competitors, right? So let's talk about spend, your approach to spend, how we go there, because I do like your approach. And how long till we start getting that data that counts for us to make a decision on if we're going to keep something, add more money, take money away, all that stuff.
Yeah. So when we start an ad campaign, I mean, for us, we generally want clients to spend at least a couple $1,000s a month to start. I like to start a little bit slower because, again, we are launching typically with a lot of assumptions baked into an ad campaign. So I don't want to spend a ton of a client's money just to figure out how right and how wrong we were. I would rather start slower, gather that data, get some, be able to make statistically significant decisions based on that data, and then try to scale it, then increase it. And normally in that type of situation, the client's fine with that because we're getting results.
Right.
And so then we tend to focus on things like an ROI, or a return on ad spend. But either way, it's some kind of a cost per conversion, some kind of a return on investment if we can measure that. That's typically the approach that we take. Start a little smaller, get some data. In terms of how long it takes to start seeing good data and good results, usually it's a combination of a bit of time passing as well as some dollars spending. If you were spending $20,000 a month on ads to start, then you're going to be getting good data within a few days. But if you're starting with a few $100s a month, it might take 3 months, 4 months before you actually start getting good data. More often than not for us, 9 times out of 10, if a client's starting with a couple $1,000s a month, it's usually 2 to 3 months, and then we start seeing some good data roll in, and we're able to optimize the campaigns to make them more mature. So in the Google world, in the search world, we're making sure that we're not targeting irrelevant searches. On Facebook, maybe we're getting rid of some of the ads that aren't working as well. Changing our targeting a little bit to make it a bit better, and so it just matures over time.